My name is Leo, and the crack that finally shattered my family wasn't some dramatic, explosive event. It was the soft, condescending tone my little sister Chloe used when she told our father, a master carpenter with sawdust permanently etched into his fingerprints, that his handmade cradle was sweet, but not really the aesthetic we're going for. I saw the light in his eyes, the same light that appeared when he showed me how to hold a plane or dovetail a joint flicker and die. He just nodded, forced a smile, and said, "Of course, honey, you should have what you like." The cradle, a beautiful piece of oak crafted with a lifetime of skill and a grandfather's love, ended up in my garage, a monument to the widening chasm between the world we came from and the world Chloe was so desperately trying to inhabit. Our story is a classic one. Mom died when we were young, and Dad raised us alone in a house that always smelled of wood stain and simmering pasta. He worked himself to the bone to give us a good life. I followed in his footsteps, not as a carpenter, but by embracing the value of hard work, becoming an electrician. But Chloe? Chloe was always dreaming of something bigger, something shinier. She was the smart one, the beautiful one, and we both poured everything we had into her. Dad took on extra jobs to put her through a fancy business school. I drove her to classes, fixed her car, and covered her rent more times than I can count. We were her foundation, the solid, unglamorous ground she stood on while she reached for the stars. And she got them. She married Mark, a slick financier with a jawline like a granite countertop and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Suddenly, our world wasn't good enough. Our dad's working-class sentimentality was an embarrassment. My blue-collar practicality was quaint. We were relics. The invitations to her glossy, perfect life became less frequent. And when we were included, it was like we were exotic, slightly disappointing pets she had to manage. The final blow came at my daughter's 5th birthday party. It was a simple backyard affair, a barbecue, a homemade cake, kids running through a sprinkler. Chloe and Mark showed up late, looking like they'd stepped out of a catalog. My daughter, Lily, ran up to her aunt, clutching the doll my dad had lovingly carved for her, a rustic, beautiful thing with a sweet, painted face. Chloe wrinkled her nose. "Oh, Lily, that's unique," she said before pulling out a massive, garish, store-bought doll from a shiny bag. "But look what Aunt Chloe got you. It talks and everything." Lily, being 5, was dazzled by the bright plastic. She dropped the wooden doll on the grass and grabbed the new one. I saw my dad's shoulders slump. He quietly walked over, picked up the doll he'd made, and brushed the grass off it. He didn't say a word, but the hurt in his eyes was a physical weight in the air. I lost it. "That's enough, Chloe." She turned to me, all innocent indignation. "What?" "I was just giving her a proper gift." "A proper gift?" I gestured to the wooden doll in my dad's hand. "He spent a month on that. That's love. That's family. What you gave her is just money." Mark stepped in, his voice a low, condescending purr. "Leo, there's no need for a scene. Chloe was just trying to be generous. Not everyone appreciates handmade things." That was it. The accumulation of every slight, every dismissive comment, every time she made our father feel small. "Get out," I said, my voice dangerously quiet. "Excuse me?" Chloe scoffed. "You heard me. Get out of my house. You don't get to come here, into the home I built with these hands you seem to look down on, and insult our father. You don't get to teach my daughter that the love and time her grandfather puts into a gift is worth less than a piece of mass-produced plastic. You've made it perfectly clear that you're ashamed of where you come from. So go. Go back to your sterile, perfect life. We're obviously not good enough for you." The party had gone dead silent. Chloe's face was a mask of shock and fury. She grabbed Mark's arm. "Fine, come on, Mark, we don't need this." As they marched out, I called after her. "You're right, Chloe, you don't need us. But one day, you might want us, and we might not be here." For 2 years, there was nothing. Radio silence. Dad's health began to fail, a weak heart, the doctor said. I think it was more a broken one. I threw myself into my work and my family. I started a small side business, building custom furniture, combining my electrical skills with the woodworking knowledge Dad had passed down. It started to take off, not making me rich, but giving me a sense of pride I'd never had before. We were happy. Our life was full of real things, sawdust, laughter, and love. We didn't talk about Chloe. She was a ghost. Then, on a cold Tuesday night, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Chloe standing on my porch, but it wasn't the Chloe from the birthday party. This woman was pale, her expensive coat looked rumpled, and her eyes were red raw from crying. She was alone. "Leo," she whispered, her voice trembling. I didn't say anything. I just stepped aside and let her in. She stood in my living room, looking at the bookshelves I'd built, the coffee table Dad and I had made together. She was shaking. "Mark left me," she said, the words tumbling out. "He'd been having an affair for a year. He emptied our joint accounts. He said I was a social climber with a chip on my shoulder, that I was never really one of them." She sank onto my sofa, burying her face in her hands. "He was right. I spent so long trying to be someone I wasn't, trying to erase where I came from, that I ended up being nothing, a fake. And the moment things got hard, the people in that world, they vanished. They were never my friends." She looked up at me, and for the first time in a decade, I saw my little sister, not the polished, brittle woman she'd become, but the scared girl I used to protect from bullies. "The worst part," she sobbed, "is that I was so blind. I had the real thing right here. I had a father who would have moved heaven and earth for me. I had a brother who always had my back. And I threw it all away because I thought love wasn't enough if it didn't come with a designer label." She hugged herself, looking small and lost. "That day, at the party, when you said I was ashamed of where I came from, you were right. I was, but I'm not anymore. I'm just ashamed of myself." She finally understood. The carefully constructed walls of her ego had crumbled, and in the rubble, she could finally see the foundation she had so carelessly abandoned. The fault wasn't in our world, it was in her rejection of it, and in the silent, understanding warmth of the home. I had built a home filled with the very things she once scorned. Her understanding was complete and infinitely more painful than any anger I could have ever held.